Scripture portions of the day. Day 110.
Luke 19. 1. And when Yeshua entered and passed through Jericho. 2. A certain man was there whose name was Zacchaeus. He was a rich man and chief of tax collectors. 3. And he wanted to see who Yeshua was, and he was not able to from the crowd, because Zacchaeus was small in stature. 4. And he ran before it to Yeshua, and he climbed up a bare fig tree to see him, because he was going to pass by there. 5. And when he came to that place, Yeshua saw him, and said to him, Hasten, come down, Zacchaeus, for today I must stay at your house. 6. And he made haste, and he came down and received him rejoicing. 7. But when all of them saw it, they were all complaining, and they were saying, He entered and lodged with a man that is a sinner. 8. Then Zacchaeus arose and he said to Yeshua, Behold, my Lord, I give half my wealth to the poor, and anything that I have seized I repay fourfold to every man. 9. Yeshua said to him, Today, the life has come to this house, because this one also is the son of Abraham. 10. For the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which was lost. 11. And as they heard these things, he added to speak a parable, because he was nearing Jerusalem, and they were expecting in that same hour that the kingdom of God was going to be revealed. 12. And he said, A certain man, a son of great descent, went to a distant region to receive a kingdom, and to return. 13. And he called his 10 servants, and he gave them 10 minas, and he said to them, Invest in trading until I come. 14. But the citizens of the city hated him, and they sent envoys after him, and they were saying, We do not want this man to reign over us. 15. And when he had received the kingdom and returned, he said to summon to him his servants to whom he had given money, that he may know what every one of them had traded. 16. The first came and he said, My Lord, Lord, your mina has gained 10 minas. 17. He said to him, Excellent, good servant. Because you are found faithful with a little, you shall be a ruler over 10 fortress cities. 18. The second came and he said, My Lord, your mina has gained 5 minas. 19. He said also to this one, You also shall be ruler over 5 fortress cities. 20. Another came and he said, My Lord, behold, that mina, which I had is now laid in fine linen. 21. For I was afraid of you, for you are a hard man, for you take up that which you have not laid down, and you reap the thing which you have not sown. 22. He said to him, I will judge you from your own mouth, you evil servant, for you had known me that I am a hard man, and I take up the thing that I have not laid down, and I reap the thing that I have not sown. 23. Why did you not put my money upon the exchange, and I would have come to seek it with its interest? 24. And he said to those who stood before him, Take from him the mina, and give to him who has 10 minas with him. 25. And they were saying to him, Our Lord, he has 10 minas. 26. He said to them, I tell you that everyone who has it, it shall be given him, and from him who does not have it, even that which he has shall be taken from him. 27. However, those my enemies, who did not want me to reign over them, bring them, and kill them in front of me. 28. And when Yeshua had said these things, he went out to those before him to go to Jerusalem. 29. And when he arrived at Bethphage in Bethany on the side of the mount which is called Bethzatha, he sent 2 of his disciples. 30. He said to them, Go to the village which is opposite us, and when you enter, behold, you shall find a colt tied on which a man has never ridden, loose and bring him. 31. If a man asks you why you are loosing him, say thus to him, He is needed for our Lord. 32. And they who were sent went and found just as he had said to them. 33. And as they loosed the colt, its owners were saying to them, Why are you loosing that colt? 34. And they said to them, He is needed for our Lord. 35. And they brought him to Yeshua, and they cast their garments on the colt, and set Yeshua upon him. 36. As he went they were spreading their garments in the road. 37. When he approached the descent of the mount of Bethzatha, all the crowds of disciples began rejoicing and praising God with loud voices for all the mighty works that they had seen. 38. And they were saying, Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord Jehovah, peace in heaven and glory in the highest. 39. But some of the Pharisees from among the crowds were saying to him, Rabbi, rebuke your disciples. 40. He said to them, I say to you that if these would be silent, the stones would be crying out loud. 41. And when he came near, and he saw the city, he wept over it. 42. And he said, If only now you had known those things that are of your peace, if even in this your day. But now these things are hidden from your eyes. 43 The days shall come to you when your enemies shall surround you, and they shall press you in from every side. 44 And they shall destroy you and your children within you, and they shall not leave you one stone standing on another, because you did not know the time of your visitation. 45 And when he entered the temple he began to cast out those who bought and sold in it. 46 And he said to them, It is written, My house is the house of prayer, but you have made it a den of robbers. 47 He was teaching every day in the temple, but the chief priests and the scribes and the elders of the people were seeking to destroy him. 48 And they could not find what they might do to him, for all the people were hanging on him to hear him. Luke 20. 1 And it happened on one of the days while he was teaching the people in the temple and evangelizing, there stood about him chief priests and scribes with elders. 2 They were saying to him, Tell us by what authority do you do these things, and who is he who has given you this authority? 3 Yeshua answered and he said to them, I shall also ask you a question, and you answer me. For was the baptism of Yohanan from heaven, or from men? 5 But they were counseling among themselves, and they were saying, If we say, from heaven, he will say to us, And why did you not believe him? 6 But if we say, from men, all the people will stone us, for they are convinced that Yohanan is a prophet. 7 And they said to him, We do not know from where it was. 8 Yeshua said to them, Neither do I say to you by what authority I do these things. 9 And he began to tell the people this parable. A certain man planted a vineyard and handed it over to laborers, and he went abroad for a long time. 10 And at the season he sent his servant to the workers to give him some of the fruits of the vineyard, but the workers beat him, and they sent him away stripped. 11 And he added and sent another servant, but they beat that one also, and they abused him, and they sent him away naked. 12 But he added and sent a third, but they also wounded that one and cast him out. 13 The owner of the vineyard said, What shall I do? I shall send my beloved son. Doubtless they will see him, and they will be ashamed. 14 But when the workers saw him, they were counseling among themselves, and they were saying, This is the heir, come let us kill him, and the inheritance shall be ours. 15 And they cast him out of the vineyard and murdered him. What therefore will the owner of the vineyard do to them? 16 He shall come and destroy those workers, and he shall give the vineyard to others. But when they heard, they said, May this not be. 17 But he gazed upon them and he said, And what is this that is written, The stone which the builders rejected has become the head of the corner? 18 And everything that falls on that stone shall be broken, and it will scatter everything whatsoever upon which it will fall. 19 But the chief priests and the scribes were seeking to lay hands upon him at that hour, and they were afraid of the people, for they knew that he had spoken this parable against them. 20 And they sent spies who imitated righteous men to catch him in discourse, and to deliver him to the judge, and to the authority of the governor. 21 And they asked him, and they were saying to him, Teacher, we know that you are speaking and teaching correctly, and you do not show favoritism, but you teach the way of God in truth. 22 Is it legal for us to give poll tax to Caesar or not? 23 But he perceived their cunning and he said, Why are you testing me? 24 Show me a denarius. Whose image and inscription is on it? They said, Caesar's. 25 Yeshua said to them, Give therefore to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's. 26 And they could not lay hold of any word from him before the people, and they were amazed at his answer, and they kept silent. 27 But some of the Sadducees came, those who say that there is no resurrection, and they asked him. 28 And they were saying to him, Teacher, Moses wrote to us that if a man dies and his brother has a wife without sons, his brother shall take his wife, and he shall raise up a son to his brother. 29 But there were 7 brothers, and the first took a wife, and he died without sons. 30 And the second took her for his wife, and he died without sons. 31 And the third again took her, and thus also the 7 of them, and they died and left no sons. 32 And finally the woman died also. 33 In the resurrection therefore, whose wife will she be, for the 7 of them married her? 34 Yeshua said to them, The sons of this world take women, and women are given to men. 35 But those who are worthy for that world and for the resurrection from among the dead are not taking women, neither are women taking men. 36 For neither can they die again, for they are like the angels, and they are the children of God, because they are the children of the resurrection. 37 But that the dead rise, Moses also declared, for he recounts at the bush, when the Lord said, the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. 38 But he was not the God of the dead, but of the living, for all of them were alive to him. 39 And some of the scribes answered, and they were saying to him, Teacher, you have spoken beautifully. 40 And they dared not ask him about anything again. 41 He said to them, how do the scribes say about the Messiah that he is the son of David? 42 And David said in the book of Psalms, the Lord said to my Lord, seat yourself at my right hand. 43 Until I put your enemies under your feet. 44 If, therefore, David called him, my Lord, how is he his son? 45 And while all the people heard, he said to his disciples, 46 Beware the scribes who like to walk in robes and love greetings in the markets and first-class seats in the synagogues and first-class rooms at banquets. 47 They who consume widows' houses for an offering of prolonging their prayers, those shall receive an extreme judgment. Exodus 20. 1 And they departed from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinah, and on the 15th day, in the 2nd month after their departure from the land of Egypt, all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron. 3 And the children of Israel said to them, would we had died smitten by the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the fleshpots, and ate bread to satiety. For ye have brought us out into this wilderness, to slay all this congregation with hunger. 4 And the Lord said to Moses, behold, I will rain bread upon you out of heaven, and the people shall go forth, and they shall gather their daily portion for the day, that I may try them whether they will walk in my law or not. 5 And it shall come to pass on the 6th day that they shall prepare whatsoever they have brought in, and it shall be double of what they shall have gathered for the day, daily. 6 And Moses and Aaron said to all the congregation of the children of Israel, and even ye shall know that the Lord has brought you out of the land of Egypt. 7 And in the morning ye shall see the glory of the Lord, inasmuch as he hears your murmuring against God, and who are we, that ye continue to murmur against us? 8 And Moses said, this shall be when the Lord gives you in the evening flesh to eat, and bread in the morning to satiety, because the Lord has heard your murmuring, which ye murmur against us. And what are we? For your murmuring is not against us, but against God. 9 And Moses said to Aaron, say to all the congregation of the children of Israel, come near before God, for he has heard your murmuring. 10 And when Aaron spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, and they turned toward the wilderness, then the glory of the Lord appeared in a cloud. 11 And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, 12 I have heard the murmuring of the children of Israel, speak to them, saying, towards evening ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be satisfied with bread, and ye shall know that I am the Lord your God. 13 And it was evening, and quails came up and covered the camp. 14 In the morning it came to pass as the dew ceased round about the camp, that, behold, on the face of the wilderness was a small thing like white coriander seed, as frost upon the earth. 15 And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, what is this? For they knew not what it was, and Moses said to them, 16 This is the bread which the Lord has given you to eat. This is that which the Lord has appointed, gather of it each man for his family, a homer for each person, according to the number of your souls, gather each of you with his fellow lodgers. 17 And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some much and some less. 18 And having measured the homer full, he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that had gathered less had no lack, each gathered according to the need of those who belonged to him. 19 And Moses said to them, let no man leave of it till the morning. 20 But they did not hearken to Moses, but some left of it till the morning, and it bred worms and stank, and Moses was irritated with them. 21 And they gathered it every morning, each man what he needed, and when the sun waxed hot it melted. 22 And it came to pass on the 6th day, they gathered double what was needed, 2 homers for one man, and all the chiefs of the synagogue went in and reported it to Moses. 23 And Moses said to them, is not this the word which the Lord spoke? Tomorrow is the Sabbath, a holy rest to the Lord, bake that ye will bake, and seethe that ye will seethe, and all that is over leave to be laid by for the morrow. 24 And they left of it till the morning, as Moses commanded them, and it stank not, neither was there a worm in it. 25 And Moses said, Eat that today, for today is a Sabbath to the Lord, it shall not be found in the plain. 26 6 days ye shall gather it, and on the seventh day is a Sabbath, for there shall be none on that day. 27 And it came to pass on the seventh day, that some of the people went forth to gather, and found none. 28 And the Lord said to Moses, How long are ye unwilling to hearken to my commands and my law? 29 See, for the Lord has given you this day as the Sabbath, therefore he has given you on the sixth day the bread of 2 days, ye shall sit each of you in your houses, let no one go forth from his place on the seventh day. 30 And the people kept Sabbath on the seventh day. 31 And the children of Israel called the name of it man, and it was as white coriander seed, and the taste of it as a wafer with honey. 32 And Moses said, This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded, fill an homer with manna, to be laid up for your generations, that they may see the bread which ye ate in the wilderness, when the Lord led you forth out of the land of Egypt. 33 And Moses said to Aaron, Take a golden pot, and cast into it 1 full homer of manna, and thou shalt lay it up before God to be kept for your generations. 34 As the Lord commanded Moses, and Aaron laid it up before the testimony to be kept. 35 And the children of Israel ate manna 40 years, until they came to the land they ate the manna, until they came to the region of Phoenicia. 36 Now the homer was the 10th part of 3 measures. 1 King 12. 1 And King Rehoboam goes to Shechemah, for all Israel were coming to Shechemah to make him king. 2-3 And the people spoke to King Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, but do thou now lighten somewhat of the hard service of thy father, and of his heavy yoke which he put upon us, and we will serve thee. 5 And he said to them, Depart for 3 days and return to me. And they departed. 6 And the king referred the matter to the elders, who stood before Solomon his father while he was yet living, saying, How do ye advise that I should answer this people? 7 And they spoke to him, saying, If thou wilt this day be a servant to this people, and wilt serve them, and wilt speak to them good words, then will they be thy servants continually. 8 But he forsook the counsel of the old men which they gave him, and consulted with the young men who were brought up with him, who stood in his presence. 9 And he said to them, What counsel do ye give? And what shall I answer to this people who speak to me, saying, Lighten somewhat of the yoke which thy father has put upon us? 10 And the young men who had been brought up with him, who stood before his face, spoke to him, saying, Thus shalt thou say to this people who have spoken to thee, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, and do thou now lighten it from off us. Thus shalt say to them, My little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. 11 And whereas my father did lade you with a heavy yoke, I also will add to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. 12 And all Israel came to King Rehoboam on the 3rd day, as the king spoke to them, saying, Return to me on the 3rd day. 13 And the king answered the people harshly, and Rehoboam forsook the counsel of the old men which they counseled him. 14 And he spoke to them according to the counsel of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. 15 And the king hearkened not to the people, because the change was from the Lord, that he might establish his word which he spoke by Achiah the Selonite concerning Jeroboam the son of Nebat. 16 And all Israel saw that the king did not hearken to them, and the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in David? Neither have we any inheritance in the son of Jesse. Depart, O Israel, to thy tents, now feed thine own house, David. So Israel departed to his tents. 17-18 And the king sent Adoniram who was over the tribute, and they stoned him with stones, and he died, and King Rehoboam made haste to rise to flee to Jerusalem. 19 So Israel rebelled against the house of David until this day. 20 And it came to pass when all Israel heard that Jeroboam had returned out of Egypt, that they sent and called him to the assembly, and they made him king over Israel, and none followed the house of David except the tribe of Judah and Benjamin only. 21 And Rehoboam went into Jerusalem, and he assembled the congregation of Judah, and the tribe of Benjamin, 120,000 young men, warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, to recover the kingdom to Rehoboam the son of Solomon. 22 And the word of the Lord came to Samaiah the man of God, saying, 23 Speak to Rehoboam the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, 24 Thus saith the Lord, Ye shall not go up, neither shall ye fight with your brethren the sons of Israel. Return each man to his own home, for this thing is from me. And they hearkened to the word of the Lord, and they ceased from going up, according to the word of the Lord. So King Solomon sleeps with his fathers, and is buried with his fathers and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked not in the way of David his father. And there was a man of Mount Ephraim, a servant to Solomon, and his name was Jeroboam, and the name of his mother was Serira, a harlot, and Solomon made him head of the levies of the house of Joseph. And he built for Solomon Serira in Mount Ephraim, and he had 300 chariots of horses. He built the citadel with the levies of the house of Ephraim. He fortified the city of David, and aspired to the kingdom. And Solomon sought to kill him, and he was afraid, and escaped to Susichem king of Egypt, and was with him until Solomon died. And Jeroboam heard in Egypt that Solomon was dead, and he spoke in the ears of Susichem king of Egypt, saying, Let me go, and I will depart into my land. And Susichem said to him, Ask and request, and I will grant it thee. And Susichem gave to Jeroboam Ano the eldest sister of Thechemana his wife. She was great among the daughters of the king, and she bore to Jeroboam Abiah his son. And Jeroboam said to Susichem, Let me indeed go, and I will depart. And Jeroboam departed out of Egypt, and came into the land of Syria that was in Mount Ephraim, and thither the whole in Mount Ephraim, and thither the whole tribe of Ephraim assembles, and Jeroboam built a fortress there. And his young child was sick with a very severe sickness, and Jeroboam went to inquire concerning the child, and he said to Ano his wife, Arise, go, inquire of God concerning the child, whether he shall recover from his sickness. Now there was a man in Selam, and his name was Achiah, and he was 60 years old, and the word of the Lord was with him. And Jeroboam said to his wife, Arise, and take in 9 hand loaves for the man of God, and cakes for his children, and grapes, and a pot of honey. And the woman arose, and took in her hand bread, and 2 cakes and grapes, and a pot of honey for Achiah. And the man was old, and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see. And she arose, up from Serira and went. And it came to pass when she had come into the city to Achiah the Selonite, that Achiah said to his servant, Go out now to meet Ano the wife of Jeroboam, and thou shalt say to her, Come in, and stand not still, for thus saith the Lord, I send grievous tidings to thee. And Ano went in to the man of God. And Achiah said to her, Why hast thou brought me bread and grapes, and cakes, and a pot of honey? Thus saith the Lord, Behold, thou shalt depart from me, and it shall come to pass when thou hast entered into the city, even into Serira, that thy maidens shall come out to meet thee, and shall say to thee, The child is dead. For thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will destroy every male of Jeroboam, and there shall be the dead of Jeroboam in the city. Them the dogs shall eat, and him that eat, and he shall lament for the child, saying, Woe is me, Lord! For there has been found in him some good thing touching the Lord. And the woman departed, when she heard this, and it came to pass as she entered into Serira, that the child died, and there came forth a wailing to meet her. And Jeroboam went to Shechemah in Mount Ephraim, and assembled there the tribes of Israel, and Roboam the son of Solomon went up thither. And the word of the Lord came to Shemaiah son of Enlami, saying, Take to thyself a new garment which has not gone into the water, and rend it into 12 pies, and thou shalt 5 some to Jeroboam, and shalt say to him, Thus saith the Lord, Take to thyself 10 pieces to cover thee. And Jeroboam took them, and Shemaiah said, Thus saith the Lord concerning the 10 tribes of Israel. And the people said to Roboam the son of Solomon, Thy father make his yoke heavy upon us, and made the meat of his table heavy, and now thou shalt lighten them upon us, and we will serve thee. And Roboam said to the people, Wait 3 days, and I will return you an answer. And Roboam said, Bring in to me the elders, and I will take counsel with them what I shall answer to the people on the 3rd day. So Roboam spoke in their ears, as the people sent to him to say, and the elders of the people said, Thus the people have spoken to thee. And Roboam rejected their counsel, and it pleased him not, and he sent and brought in those youths who had been brought up with him, and he said to them, Thus and thus has the people sent to me to say. And they that had been brought up with him said, Thus shalt thou speak to the people, saying, My little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. My father scourged you with whips, but I will rule you with scorpions. And the saying pleased Roboam, and he answered the people as the young men, they that were brought up with him, counseled him. And all the people spoke as one man, every one to his neighbor, and they cried out all together, saying, We have no part in David, nor inheritance in the son of Jesse, to thy tents, O Israel, every one, for this man is not for a prince or a ruler over us. And all the people was dispersed from Shechemah, and they departed every one to his tent. And Rehoboam strengthened himself and departed, and mounted his chariot, and entered into Jerusalem, and there follow him the whole tribe of Judah, and the whole tribe of Benjamin. And it came to pass at the beginning of the year, that Rehoboam gathered all the men of Judah and Benjamin, and went up to fight with Jeroboam at Shechemah. And the word of the Lord came to Samias the man of God, saying, Speak to Rehoboam king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Ye shall not go up, neither shall ye fight with your brethren the sons of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. And they hearkened to the word of the Lord, and forbore to go up, according to the word of the Lord. 25 And Jeroboam built Shechemah in Mount Ephraim and dwelt in it, and went forth thence and built Phanuel. 26 And Jeroboam said in his heart, Behold, now the kingdom will return to the house of David. 27 If this people shall go up to offer sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then the heart of the people will return to the Lord, and to their master, to Rehoboam king of Judah, and they will slay me. 28 And the king took counsel, and went, and made 2 golden heifers, and said to the people, Let it suffice you to have gone hitherto to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, who brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. 29 And he put one in Bethel, and he put the other in Dan. 30 And this thing became a sin, and the people went before one as far as Dan, and left the house of the Lord. 31 And he made houses on the high places, and made priests of any part of the people, who were not of the sons of Levi. 32 And Jeroboam appointed a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, according to the feast in the land of Judah. 33 And went up to the altar which he made in Bethel to sacrifice to the heifers which he made, and he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made. And he went up to the altar which he had made, on the 15th day in the 8th month, at the feast which he devised out of his own heart, and he made a feast to the children of Israel, and went up to the altar to sacrifice. Psalms 83. 1 O God, who shall be compared to thee? Be not silent, neither be still, O God. 2 For behold, thine enemies have made a noise, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. 3 Against thy people they have craftily imagined a device, and have taken counsel against thy saints. For they have said, Come, and let us utterly destroy them out of the nation, and let the name of Israel be remembered no more at all. 5 For they have taken counsel together with one consent, they have made a confederacy against thee. 6 Even the tents of the Idumeans, and the Ismaelites, Moab, and the Agarenes. 7 Jebel and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines also, with them that dwell at Tyre. 8 Yea, Assur too is come with them, they have become a help to the children of Lot. Pause. 9 Do thou to them as to Madiam, and to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kison. 10 They were utterly destroyed at Ender, they became as dung for the earth. 11 Make their princes as Oreb and Zeb, and Zebi and Salmanah, even all their princes. 12 Who said, Let us take to ourselves the altar of God as an inheritance. 13 O my God, make them as a wheel, as stubble before the face of the wind. 14 As fire which shall burn up a wood, as the flame may consume the mountains. 15 So shalt thou persecute them with thy tempest, and trouble them in thine anger. 16 Fill their faces with dishonor, so shall they seek thy name, O Lord. 17 Let them be ashamed and troubled forevermore, yea, let them be confounded and destroyed. 18 And let them know that thy name is Lord, that thou alone art most high over all the earth.